Medical disclaimer. The content of this video is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and always get proper treatment for serious medical conditions. Legal disclaimer. Use only legal measures to combat the virus and cooperate with government officials, first responders and healthcare workers to make the coronavirus a thing of the past and create a perfect society ASAP. Use common sense, logic and help your fellow humans if necessary, also to lower the risk of being vaccinated mandatorily ourselves and to end the pandemic as soon as possible. The objective of my videos is not to slander people nor to incite or trigger people, but to do the opposite, exposing it when people are wrongly accused and to create universal peace, world peace or just peace on earth. People are innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. One who knows of evidence must testify, not to convict anyone without a fair trial. Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Perfect Society. I'm Ulrich Hofmann, and this is the broadcast. Top 5 countries with most new confirmed COVID-19 cases have all tested, rolled out 5G, 22nd of June 2020. So, perhaps it's best to go to the articles immediately. First, a little intro.
Russia's first 5G zone deployed in Moscow August 08, 2019. Ericsson.com. South Korea, China, and the United States are the countries that lead the world in building and deploying 5G technology. Investopedia.com. April 23, 2020. Jan 27, 2020. Mexico has vacated 70 MHz of the 600 MHz band for 5G deployment. CMS.law. 5G in Pakistan, all you need to know. YouTube. In this video we talk about the recent 5G speed test conducted by Zong in Pakistan. July 25, 2018, Huawei demonstrated 5G technology in Bangladesh. Bangladesh 5G Summit 2018, the next frontier for digital Bangladesh. Huawei.com. Dhaka experiences 1.6 Gbps data speed with Huawei 5G. UNB.com.bd. Jan 16, 2020, Huawei Technologies, Bangladesh Limited played a key role in the trial of 5G in Bangladesh on July 25 in 2018. 5G network officially launched in Oman, Oman. December 11, 2019, Muscat. The 5G network has been officially launched in the country by Oman Telecommunications Company, Omantel, on Wednesday. Top 5 countries with most new confirmed COVID-19 cases have all tested, rolled out 5G. June 22, 2020. Worldometers.info. 1 Russia, 2 Mexico, 3 Pakistan, 4 Bangladesh, 5 Oman.
Some people think that the claim that there is no correlation between 5G and the coronavirus is unsustainable. For 2 reasons. One is the increase in cell membrane permeability caused by 5G radiation, and 2 is the increase in peripheral T lymphocytes, so it affects people's immune system. So I want you all to disprove it to me, and it's best to use a disclaimer when talking about this subject. So now we can go to these articles that I have prepared. I've covered this study already on thetruthseeker.co.uk. Study shows direct correlation between 5G networks and coronavirus outbreaks. and that is illustrated with the charts and maps. For example, the chart of the 9 countries with the most infections worldwide, all receiving 5G radiation from satellites, they claim. So there are also satellites, but this top 5 on worldometers.info, you can see it here. So I've selected new cases, it's the second bar. Russia 7,600 cases, Mexico 5,343 new cases, Pakistan 4,471, Bangladesh 3,480, and Oman 1,605 new cases. And then I started thinking, if this is true what they claim in this study, then they'd all have to have 5G, right? If there's one that doesn't have 5G, then, well, you can still say then the satellites are still there, the 5G satellites, Project Starlink of Elon Musk, I've covered in my previous broadcasts, and frequency bands are in the wiki article, so that also uses cancer cell phone radiation, aka microwaves. So, and I've covered the 5G, why 5G is a health hazard according to experts in my previous broadcasts about the reproducible tests and the studies, peer-reviewed independent studies that prove beyond any reasonable doubt that 5G radiation, microwave radiation, is very harmful and hazardous. So these 5G antenna phone masts are called death towers for a reason. Anyway, I'm not going into that in this broadcast, you can check it in my previous broadcast, and again, people have to have a disclaimer, and there are also financial interests at stake. Russia's first 5G zone deployed in Moscow, Ericsson.com. Ericsson and Tele2 have launched Russia's first 5G zone in central Moscow on Tele2's commercial network, setting into motion an agreement that signed in June this year. The non-stop outdoor 5G coverage is live in Tverskaya Street, the busiest part of the Russian capital, stretching between Red Square and Sadovo Ring. August 8, 2019 already. So people can read it. I'll put the links to the articles in the description. Mexicanist.com writes launch of 5G speeds up in Mexico because of COVID-19. Well, some would claim that's a reason to prevent that rollout, also because of the economic crash, recession, the crisis that some people claim is generated deliberately to impose a systemic Luciferian totalitarian global government and to reduce the global population to 500 million with vaccines, DNA vaccines, electroporation vaccines, mRNA vaccines, the gene drive extinction technology. And these electroporation vaccines make pores in people's cells, again, so that the virus can enter these cells, the supposedly deactivated, attenuated virus, of course. And I've covered that in previous broadcasts, so I'm not going into that now. This is bnamericas.com. In 2019, 5 commercial networks were launched and at least 30 5G tests were carried out. So I can read this part, but first I'm going through the other studies. Dhaka experiences 1.6 gigabyte per second data speed with UAW 5G on unb.com.bd. The people have got the chance to experience 5G for the first time in Bangladesh. Alright. Next. OmanObserver.com. OmanObserver.om. 5G network officially launched in Oman 11/12/2019, 11th December. Muscat 5G network has been officially launched in the country of Oman. Telecommunications company Omantel on Wednesday. 5G technology, which country will be the first to adapt? Why did I put this here? And what I also can show in relation to this is that the country with most deaths per 1 million population is San Marino, the first country to have rolled out 5G. Considerably, well, actually, they're the only country that has over 1,000 deaths per million population. But for this broadcast, I was looking at the new cases, so that's the second bar over here. So let's read that part about Mexico, because that's really the only country about which you could wonder to what extent they've rolled out 5G. And I have this article for that. Let's take it from here. Where they write about Mexico.
In markets such as Ecuador, Mexico and the Dominican Republic, some 5G test announcements were made, but the available information has not allowed us to specify the frequencies used and the cases of use experienced. In the region, 5G test announcements have been registered since 2016, in markets such as Argentina, Brazil, Colombia and Mexico. Therefore, a lower participation or absence of trials in the year of 2019 does not necessarily indicate that in those markets there is an absence of 5G tests. "5G spectrum in Latin America. At least 5 national administrations plan to allocate spectrum considered as suitable for 5G within the next 18 months, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico and Peru. The 3.5 GHz band is considered in these contests. In addition to the 5 countries in which 5G networks already operate, in Chile, Mexico and Peru there are blocks of the 3.5 GHz band that were granted for other services, fixed wireless access, to telecommunications companies, in which you can afford to use it for new mobile services. To continue reading, subscribe to BNE Americas to get all the information.
Okay, so that's proof that they've at least tested the 5G in Mexico as well, and they're working on it, most definitely. And of course, then there are the 5G satellites of Elon Musk that I've covered in a previous broadcast. Let's see if I can find the illustration. And I've covered 5G cruise ship covered with dead starling birds as well. That's also worth checking out. Bill Gates already said it's gonna have to go to 7 billion people.
It's going to have to go to 7 billion people.
Referring to the vaccine, of course. So how can they know that? How do they know this already? And I must have scrolled past it. I'm scrolling. Got it. No, I didn't scroll past it yet, so I've covered these 1,584 satellites into 72 orbital planes of 22 satellites each. Project Starlink in my previous broadcast. And there are many satellites in space already. You can also photograph them from Earth. And there may be several disadvantages to it that I've also covered in my previous broadcast. One thing is that the astronomers claim that it gets harder to see potential threats of meteors and to look into space. But I doubt this. So the other reasons get snowed under by that, basically. Such as all these tests that I've covered that prove beyond any reasonable doubt microwave radiation, 5G but also 4G is harmful, detrimental to human health. Microwave radiation, I call it cancer cell phone radiation, causes DNA breaks, lumping red blood cells, a test people can do at home, and chromosomal damage, among things, and a lot of other horrible types of damage to the human body. I can check a couple of them. Scrolling. Okay. I'm selecting some text that I think is relevant to this broadcast. Alright.
Cyanosis is the name for poor oxygen circulation in the blood that causes bluish discoloration of the skin. Blue lips may indicate a type of cyanosis caused by lower levels of oxygen in
Cyanosis.
the red blood cells. What are the negative effects of 5G? Effects include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, genetic damages, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. October 17, 2019. We have no reason to believe 5G is safe. Scientific American blogs.scientificamerican.com. Communication towers kill about 6.8 million birds every year. USC 23K views 7 years ago. Sickness from 5G cell towers. Technology is killing us slowly. The Segovia's 165K views 3 months ago. 5G test killed birds. 4 connectors 8K views 1 year ago. 5G street light weapon kills birds. Photographobia 913 views 3 days ago. Hundreds of birds fall from the sky during 5G tests in the Netherlands. Chronos 16.1.9 views 1 year ago. Birds were found dead after 5G test, Switzerland. Explain Techie Vlogs 171 views 1 year ago. Summary of health impacts of Wi-Fi EMF exposures. Health effects, oxidative stress, in some antioxidants. Sperm, testicular damage, male infertility. Neuropsychiatric changes including EEG, prenatal Wi-Fi leads to postnatal neural development, increased cholinesterase, decreased special learning. Wi-Fi led to greatly lowered ability to distinguish familiar from novel objects. Changes in GABA and cholinergic transmission. Apoptosis, programmed cell death, elevated apoptotic markers, cellular DNA damage, endocrine changes, catecholamines, pancreatic endocrine dysfunction, prolactin, progesterone and estrogen, calcium overload, melatonin lowering, sleep disruption, microRNA expression, brain abnormal, postnatal development disrupts development of teeth, cardiac changes, blood pressure disruption, erythrocyte damage, growth stimulation of adipose stem cells, role in obesity. Source: Environmental Research Volume 164, July 2018. Pages 405-416. Wi-Fi is an important threat to human health. Highlights: 7 effects have each been repeatedly reported following Wi-Fi and other EMF exposures. Established Wi-Fi effects include apoptosis, oxidant, stress and testis, sperm dysfunct, neuropsych, DNA impact, hormone change, Ca2+ rise. Wi-Fi is thought to act via voltage-gated calcium channel activation. One claim of no Wi-Fi effects was found to be deeply flawed. Science-Direct.com/science/article/S0013935118300355. 125 cities in Italy oppose 5G. 5G New Radio, is a new radio access technology, RAT, developed by 3GPP for the 5G, 5th generation, mobile network. 5G uses 2 frequency ranges. Frequency range 1, FR1, including sub-6 GHz frequency bands. Frequency range 2, FR2, including frequency bands in the wave range, 24 to 100 GHz. Plasma ball, sucker punch. Social distancing till 2022, a few measures, ideal population reduction method, baby boom. Test shielding capacity of aluminium foil shielding hoodie. Trump, coronavirus is Democrats' new hoax. YouTube. The president has repeatedly downplayed the threat posed by COVID-19, criticizing concern over the crisis as a hoax, threatening that letting infected Americans off a cruise ship would increase the number of confirmed cases, and claiming that only a couple of Americans had it as cases began to soar across the country. TheGuardian.com. 5G cruise ship covered in dead starlings? You humans should feel ashamed. 5G is not safe. Hippie fools ush against 5G. 407 views.
Okay, I saw this video, 5G smart lamp damages only one side of tree, and you can find this on YouTube, of course. And I think that's relevant as well in relation to this, because it is about 5G.
Look on the left hand side of that tree, on the right hand side. That's alright. Yeah. Right, well look at the right hand side of the tree, look at the flower, look at the bushes. Look at the green bushes, yeah. Very nice. Look at the left hand side. Dead. You know why? Because that's right next to it.
So here you can see this thing sticking out is an antenna, and they may also have other lamps and even manholes. When you walk in New York, for example, you have these metal plates in the floor in some places, and people can go into them, and they can also have 5G.
Because that's right next to it. Look at this. Have you seen anything like that in your life? It's got a light right there. The transmitter on the top. Now how is that? Explain that. The right hand side.
Okay, so let's see if I have some more fast writings that can help. So shielding is not a bad idea. Alright, some more interesting info that I think is vital for the people above all.
Citing this large body of research, more than 240 scientists who have published peer-reviewed research on the biologic and health effects of non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, EMF, signed the International EMF Scientist Appeal, which calls for stronger exposure limits. The appeal makes the following assertions. Numerous recent scientific publications have shown that EMF affects living organisms at levels well below most international and national guidelines. Effects include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, genetic damages, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. Damage goes well beyond the human race, as there is growing evidence of harmful effects to both plant and animal life. Another wave of coronavirus will likely hit the US in the fall. CNN May 2, 2020. 170 global groups call for moratorium on new genetic extinction technology at UN Convention at group.org. December 05 th 2016. Gene drives, developed through new gene editing techniques, are designed to force a particular genetically engineered trait to spread through an entire wild population, potentially changing entire species or even causing deliberate extinctions. A gene drive is a tool that forces certain genes to be in a species population. Gene drives do this by greatly increasing the chance a certain gene is passed on to an organism's offspring. So, like with the party invitations, gene drives spread a gene through a species population. Escabiologist.asu.edu. How does CRISPR-Cas9 technology allow a gene drive alter a normal inheritance pattern? CRISPR-based gene drives bias the inheritance of desired alleles. Consider an altered allele in the germline, cells that make eggs and sperm, of an organism. The CRISPR gene first guides the Cas9 to the target site on the wild-type chromosome. The Cas9 then makes a double-strand break in the DNA at the target site. Synthco.com. H.R. 6666 COVID-19 testing, reaching, and contacting everyone, Trace, Act SEC. 2. COVID-19 testing and contact tracing using mobile health units. Congress.gov/bill/116th Congress/House Bill/6666/ Wisconsin Supreme Court ruling overturning stay-at-home order highlights widening U.S. debate on pandemic. USA Today May 15, 2020. Bill Gates calls for 10-week shutdown in U.S. money control. 11K views 1 month ago. Wuhan retesting all its citizens for COVID-19 to prevent second wave of outbreak. CBS Evening News 3.4K view 17 hours ago. Army fields next generation Blue Force tracking system. The software-enhanced version of Force 21 Battle Command Brigade and Below/Blue Force Tracking, or FBCB2/BFT, is known as Joint Capabilities Release, in reference to its interoperability with the Marine Corps. July 15, 2011. Air bubbles visible and weird light source. NASA and SpaceX fake astronaut launch. David Pakman Show uploaded, suppression, all protest and Floyd videos demonetized. The following executive orders, now recorded in the Federal Register, and therefore accepted by Congress as the law of the land, can be put into effect at any time an emergency is declared. 10,998 seizure of all food resources, farms and farm equipment. 11,000 seizure of all civilians for work under federal supervision. 11,000 for housing and finance authority may shift population from one locality to another. Complete integration. The President has the power to seize property, organize and control the means of production, seize commodities, assign military forces abroad, call reserve forces amounting to 2.5 million men to duty, institute martial law, seize and control all means of transportation, regulate all private enterprise, restrict travel, and in a plethora of particular ways, control the lives of all Americans. Most of these laws remain a potential source of virtually unlimited power for a president should he choose to activate them. It is possible that some future president could exercise this vast authority in an attempt to place the United States under authoritarian rule. While the danger.
I noticed that I forgot to put the source on two of these pieces of text that were read out, but you can easily Google everything, so I'm sure you can find it easily if you type a plus in the Google search and then quotation mark, 2 commas basically that are hovering, and then put one line that is probably only in the text between these quotation marks with the plus in front of it, and then it will find the source. Probably if there are multiple sources, then it's one of these sources that will produce the same article. So it's not something that I wrote myself.
Of a dictatorship arising through legal means may seem remote to us today. Recent history records Hitler seizing control through the use of the emergency powers provisions contained in the laws of the Weimar Republic. Joint Statement, Sens. Frank Church, DID, and Charles Matthias, RMD, September 30, 1973. Trump warns of civil war if impeached. The View 478K views 8 months ago. Coronavirus, tiger at Bronx Zoo tests positive for COVID-19. BBC News 320K views 2 months ago. New research shows COVID-19 patients who test positive second time may not be infectious. NBC News 62,032 views May 19, 2020. Professor says only 10% of people with coronavirus develop antibodies. Daily Mail Middledont. Israelis protest against Netanyahu's plan to annex West Bank. Al Jazeera. Israeli left's show of strength highlights weakness of anti-annexation protest Teretz. Heating up the North Pole with ionospheric heaters to relocate everyone into smart cancer cities.
Well, that was a title for broadcasts based on something I heard on the radio, so I think I'm not gonna make that one. So I think that last line may be nonsense anyway. But if there are any untruths in this broadcast, please let me know via Skype, Prologic999, then I can delete the broadcast or correct the error so it doesn't become a mistake. And I like scientific articles. Not too difficult to read, but the ones that I've covered are pretty clear already, but there are thousands of scientific articles about the damages caused by exposure to microwave radiation. And they also use 5G crowd control, also covered in my previous broadcasts. Advanced beamforming technology. 95 gigahertz that burns people's skin, and that's installed near Amsterdam Arena, for example. So there are special 5G boxes or antennas that look quite special. Let's see if I have a picture of this. 5G crowd control advanced beamforming. So what they can do is aim the beam, or actually supposedly that goes automatically when people make a phone call with a 5G cancer cell phone. then the beam will aim in the area to the area their phone is located. But that also means that that concentrated beam of energy is also going through everybody in between that cancer cell phone and the cancer cell phone death tower. So that's it for this broadcast. I think it's chock full of info, so download it and spread it. It should be alright because of the disclaimer, and I've supplied all the links. And well, yesterday we've had the protests in the Netherlands, in The Hague, and I've covered that as well. And that's a broadcast of several hours, and there's also a dagvaarding in the Netherlands concerning the disproportionate coronavirus measures. So lately I've been studying that more. And so you can check that broadcast. And BLM was protesting at the same moment in London. And I thought there would be several live streams of this demo in The Hague. But some people first recorded it and then uploaded it. So at the end I found out they were not rounded up and put in prison, but they had to give their identity, basically, their passport, Ausweis bitte, and they probably get a fee they have to pay, also children. So they were staande gehouden. I don't know if they were arrested, but you can follow it all in the broadcast. Perhaps closed caption works to a certain extent. I don't know if I have to turn it on, but you can also find broadcasts in English about the protest demo in The Hague yesterday, probably. By now. So I showed in that broadcast the demo in The Hague. It was forbidden by the mayor of The Hague, Remkes, though the BLM protest in Amsterdam was allowed by the mayor of Amsterdam, Halsema. And some people consider the coronavirus measures illegal, disproportional measures because the numbers don't justify these measures. 0.005% of the global population has died from COVID-19. We can see the number of AIDS deaths, for example, is higher, and many people confirm that the coronavirus is a mild virus and comparable. Lots of people compare it to influenza. And actually, I could look for that graph if I can find it fast. Contagiousness, most contagious diseases or something. COVID, week death, wind, coronavirus. Most contagious diseases, got it, and then I first have to turn off these other ones. Oh yeah, it shows the absorption of the 60 gigahertz radiation. The absorption of 60 gigahertz radiation by oxygen like 2.45 gigahertz is absorbed by water molecules, for example. That's why they use it for the cancer microwave ovens, and they used to be forbidden in Russia or something. Anyway, then I have to turn that off as well. There, contagiousness. So we see that according to this Reuters Statista graphic news illustration, the new coronavirus is less contagious than influenza, but there's not much difference. So the R0 or R0 for new coronavirus is 1.4 to 2.5, and for influenza it's 2 to 3. So of all these viruses and diseases shown, new coronavirus is the least contagious one. And then people can also look at the death rate, but this is of course an older illustration, which you can see because they still called it 2019 nCoV and not COVID-19. So now it's SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus, COVID-19 the disease. And I also showed the age of the people. Couldn't they say anyone younger than 50 may not protest? Let's see if I can find the age of the coronavirus deaths. There you can see it begins in the age group 50 to 59. In 40 to 49 that's 0.4% of the infections. Children that are infected with the virus, I couldn't read it that fast. Death rate varies by age, health and sex. Proportion of deaths among confirmed cases. Some call it the adrenocoronavirus because it seems to affect only people older than 50 basically. And 80 plus has most cases, the highest percentage. So you could argue everyone older than 50 is a risk group basically. And below 50 it's less than 1%. So is that percentage of the total 100%? What does 100% represent? All coronavirus cases or case fatalities, so coronavirus deaths. It's about the death rate, not the infection rate, but the death rate. Okay. So then, if you'd add all these percentages, you'd have to get to 100%. So I'd have to study that further, how to interpret these bars we see on our screen. But I think it's clear that it affects mainly people between 50 and 100 years of age, basically. 50 to 123 or whatever. The oldest person in the world, Miss Comma, was what, 122, 123 years old. and our world record hasn't been broken yet. Also covered in previous broadcasts. Alright, so then I hope the government officials and politicians look at these studies and, for example, get the effectiveness and safety of colloidal silver tested, test the rainwater if the virus is also present in rainwater, not just in the sewers. Sewer water is tested in the Netherlands, but I haven't found any website that shows what's in our rainwater. Wouldn't that be logical to test that when we're all walking in the rain regularly, etc.? And I've heard someone else say that it can also spread in these smaller droplets, so ventilation is one way to reduce the spread rate. And another one is ionizers, an air cleaner with an ionizer, an air ionizer. And the negative ions are the good ones. The principle is explained and they are effective. It's also scientifically proven now, I think. And people can Google it all for themselves. I'm not a doctor, an allopathic professional, or a pseudo-scientist that's trying to make money for the medical cartel. Donations are welcome via universalpeace.jimdo.com. And, well, that's it for this broadcast. So people can check these statistics on worldometers.info, wonderful website where we can follow the official numbers, the numbers they want us all to believe in, of course. And I've covered population reduction plans for everyone. And global government plans in my previous broadcast, so check them out on Perfect Society, the Future channel on YouTube, and on trysomething.vegetarian on YouTube. So that's it for this broadcast. I will fix my globe live on the air. The lighting conditions are bad, I see. Ah! Should be pretty stable. So I have to hold this in between. Weird. So perhaps I first have to put it on the base like this, and then do this. Oh, I see. I've taken out the cable because I measured it with my new meter, and it's kind of too much radiation. Basically, electromagnetic field radiation is way too high, many times what the building biologists advise, and that can be another type of radiation, according to some that may be even worse than the cancer cell phone radiation. So as an electro-hypersensitive person, I have 3 measuring instruments, and I must have another one somewhere, but that might be gone. I still have the big box with the second meter that goes with it. That was my most expensive measuring instrument of Spectron. So when we move, I hope to find that, and I have to do things for moving, so I cannot make my broadcast too long. Thank you all for watching. Kiss for single ladies who would like one, and check Perfect Society next time. Subscribe so that you can see when there's a new broadcast in the notifications area on YouTube, the bell sign in the right top corner. And when you hit that bell sign underneath this video, then you can choose all to be updated for everything I upload, because otherwise YouTube will make a selection and I don't know what videos they select. And so like, share, subscribe. and put it on your timeline, share it with the world and with everyone you know, update them about what's really going on and make a plan to survive their population reduction. I also made a video of the top 10 population reduction I made a top 10 of population reduction methods and countermeasures you can take, and that's on the Future channel, I think. So wow, there I look more like a ghost. So thank you all for watching. Tune in next time, Perfect Society.